Hello guys, welcome to Major's Garage. This is Suellio Almeida. I'm the crew chief for the Formula 1, Formula 3, and Formula 3.5. But also this season I'm going to be doing the data packs for the Dallara IR01. Today we're going to see my lap here with the Dallara F3 at Laguna Seca for the first week of the season. So let's go straight to the lap. So basically about this corner here, I'm definitely using double apex. I'm trying to brake quite late. I'm using something in between this white line here and the beginning of this little drain here that you can see. So let's see, I go to the white line. I'm starting to brake, but my maximum pressure will be around this, which is basically one car before the actual drain starts. So I'm actually using this entire area here as a parameter for braking. So when I feel really confident, I brake a little bit later than that. When you're fighting for position and you're on the inside, you're gonna have to brake a little bit earlier. So you have to be aware of this. These two lines, those are the references that I use. You can also use the 3 board here. Just know that you have to brake a little bit later than that. And then I'm very close to the outside here. You can even use a little bit more. You're not gonna get enough track that easily here. But then I'm braking and I'm already thinking about not getting back on the throttle on the first apex, of course, but not at the second either. I'm actually gonna be back on the throttle in between. Every time we have a double apex like that, we have to plan the throttle application to be very close to 50% in between the two apexes. So as you can see, I'm getting here first apex, still decreasing the speed a little bit, still decreasing a little bit. When I feel that I'm kind of halfway in between both, you can see here how I'm already getting the car, getting the power down. Then I want to rotate the car with the throttle here. As you can see, just a little bit of healthy oversteer here, really steering the car with the right foot. And then for this corner, just a very light braking. Be sure that you're bringing the car quite early to the curb, so when you start actually turning, you see how I'm already off the curb. I'm already pointing to the right here. It's very easy to end up getting a little bit too late on the entry and start the cornering pointing to the outside. This way you can lose a lot of time. So be careful with that and bring the car slightly earlier to the curb so you can already start the cornering earlier than you think. So just a very light braking to give some weight to the front so the car can point a little bit more. And then just carrying a little bit of those brakes and getting back on the throttle as soon as you feel confident that you will be able to carry that throttle all the way until the end without having to lift. So in this case, it was a little bit before the sausage curb. And you actually want to be very close to the sausage curb so you can optimize your line. So it's okay to barely touch the sand here on the outside, the gravel. And then same thing for the next corner. You want to really come to the curb way before so you can actually open up as much as possible for the next corner. I do turn in flat out here, and then if I need, I will lift a little bit. Later in the stint, you can almost do it flat out, but earlier in the stint on the first laps, you actually have to lift a little bit. So for this corner here, I'm using the 2 board, basically not braking too hard and not braking for too long either. I'm really braking quite quickly and to around 50%, and then I'm immediately starting to turn and releasing the brakes progressively as I turn in. I want to carry a lot of speed and I want to get back on the throttle way before this white end of the curb. You can actually use the red curb here as a reference. I did miss the curb a little bit. As you can see, I'm not completely using, I'm not using the apex at all. There's half a car there, but I was able to carry a lot of rotation. So it was a good one anyways. And then you can actually use a little bit of this sand here as soon, well, if you're able to come back and still stay on the curb, that's gonna be totally valid. Then we want to go for this tricky one, the little king to the left before the corkscrew. So what I'm doing here is I'm really aware that we do have this weird camber, not here, a little bit here. You can see that the track goes up all the way until the beginning of the curb, but then it falls a little bit. So the curb itself is off camber, and then you need to be very careful with using the curb here, because if you shift too much weight forward, you will make the car bottom out and the car will not churn as well. So as you can see, I'm releasing the throttle a little bit to churn, but I'm not releasing it while I am on the curb. I'm really trying to carry that weight rearwards so the front do not go down and touch the curb. That will make the car bottom out and not churn. So be careful with that, and also start churning quite early. I'm using the 2 as a reference, and churning quite early here, and I definitely want to be super close to the sausage curb here. As you can see, I'm almost hitting it. Then we go into the corkscrew. So what I'm doing here, I know that this is a blind entry, but I also know that there is a little bit of a corner to the right in the braking zone before the actual corkscrew. So I'm bringing my car very early to the left here, and then I'm bringing my car to the right. I start braking, but I still want to stay on the right, so that I can really open up for this first entry. I want to use a lot of the, I mean not a lot, but you want to use the gravel here a little bit, the sand, and you want to, basically what I do is I aim for this last blue square here. We generally miss it, but as you can see, I'm basically just touching it, and it is my visual reference to know if I'm doing a good line for the downhill, because the downhill is also blind until it's kind of too late. Then I change direction here, really trying to use all of the curb. Be very careful with this gravel here though, because if you touch the inside tires on the gravel, there's a big chance of spin. So being careful with that, all is gonna be okay. So for this one, you can do it flat out about the 4th lap of the race, maybe 3rd, 4th lap, you can already do it flat out. And then just be sure that you're upshifting to 5th a little bit early, and the car will rotate a little bit more. And then also be sure that you're not missing this red curb here. I guess, as you can see, I'm not using all of the entry, because I knew that by this far in the race stint, I was able to already use a shorter line and still do it flat out. So I could save a little bit of time. And then on this penultimate corner, the secret here is to bring the car as early as possible to the entry. As you can see, by the beginning of the curb, I'm already using it totally. And then I'm starting to churn very early. So generally we tend to churn a little bit too late here, and to make the car churn, we end up slowing the car too much. So be careful with that. Churn quite early, and for that, of course, bring the car to the entry quite early too. And don't be afraid of really using this inside here. Just don't hit this curb, but you really need to stay on the inside here a lot, because there's a lot of camber on this corner, and you have a lot of mechanical grip here on the inside. For the last corner, I'm using a little bit, I'm using the 2 as a reference, but I'm always wanting to brake a little bit after it. So actually my initial brake is at the 2, but my maximum pressure is a little bit after it. If you use D2 as a reference, you may end up braking a little bit too early and turning early, and that hurts a little bit the exit. You have to really think about braking for a late entry, so you can carry a lot of speed and punch the throttle a little bit more aggressive by having done the rotation earlier in the cornering phase. So as you can see, I'm really bringing my car all the way to this curve here. You will get an off track if the antenna of the car is over to the green here. So as you can see, I actually had a little bit of room, maybe 1 tire room before I would get on off track. Be aware of that, because this is very good to know exactly where you can put the car without being too afraid. So yeah, this was my tutorial for Laguna Seca with the Formula 3. I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a great season and see you next week. Bye bye.